This is Shalom World Podcast.
The day after Good Friday, on Holy Saturday, the Roman Catholic Church commemorates Jesus descending to the abode of the dead. He conquered death through his sacrifice on the cross, and then went to proclaim the good news to those who had passed away before him. An ancient homily recited by the Church on Holy Saturday during the Liturgy of the Hours sheds light on the events of this day.
Something strange is happening. There is a great silence on earth today. A great silence and stillness. The whole earth keeps silence. Because the King is asleep. The earth trembled and is still because God has fallen asleep in the flesh, and he has raised up all who have slept ever since the world began. God has died in the flesh, and hell trembles with fear. He has gone to search for our first parent, as for a lost sheep, greatly desiring to visit those who live in darkness and in the shadow of death. He has gone to free from sorrow the captives Adam and Eve, he who is both God and the Son of Eve. The Lord approached them bearing the cross, the weapon that had won him the victory. At the sight of him, Adam, the first men he had created, struck his breast in terror and cried out,
"My Lord be with you all."
Christ took him by the hand and raised him up, saying,
"Awake, O sleeper, and rise from the dead, and Christ will give you light."
Watching away from the life that I knew.
I am your God, who for your sake have become your Son. Out of love for you and your descendants, I now by my own authority command all who are held in bondage to come forth. All who are in darkness to be enlightened, all who are sleeping to arise. I order you, O sleeper, to awake. I did not create you to be held a prisoner in hell. Rise from the dead, for I am the life of the dead. Rise up, work of my hands, you who were created in my image. Rise, let us leave this place, for you are in me and I in you. Together we form one person and cannot be separated. For your sake I, your God, became your son. I, the Lord, took the form of a slave. I, whose home is above the heavens, descended to the earth and beneath the earth. For your sake, for the sake of man, I became like a man without help, free among the dead. For the sake of you who left a garden, I was betrayed to the Jews in a garden, and I was crucified in a garden. See on my face the spittle I received, in order to restore to you the life I once breathed into you. See there the marks of the blows I received, in order to refashion your warped nature in my image. On my back see the marks of the scourging. I endured to remove the burden of sin that weighs upon your back. See my hands nailed firmly to a tree, for you who once wickedly stretched out your hand to a tree. I slept on the cross, and a sword pierced my side, for you who slept in paradise and brought forth Eve from your side. My side has healed the pain in yours. My sleep will rouse you from your sleep in hell. The sword that pierced me has sheathed the sword that was turned against you. Rise, let us leave this place. The enemy led you out of the earthly paradise. I will not restore you to that paradise, but will enthrone you in heaven. I forbade you the tree that was only a symbol of life. But see, I who am life itself am now one with you.
On the third day after his death, he rose again, just as he had promised, exactly as the scriptures foretold about the death and resurrection of the Messiah. In the Eucharist, he offers us his own life. Once we were forbidden to eat from the tree of life, but now God invites us to share in his very life and to enter into eternity with him. He chose to take on the form of a servant when he became man, and willingly allowed himself to be cradled as a baby in the arms of his mother, Mary. He descended to the dead to deliver Adam and all those who had passed away before him. Today, he approaches us in humility, disguised as bread and wine, inviting us to partake of him so that he may unite our hearts with his own. The question is, will you surrender yourself to him? Not just a portion of you, but your entire being. And if you're willing to give your whole self to him, let's begin by examining the example set before us by the first person Jesus appeared to after his resurrection. John chapter 20, verse 18. Mary Magdalene went and said to the disciples, "I have seen the Lord." And she told them that he had said these things to her. Let's follow her lead by boldly proclaiming the salvation we've received from Christ and spreading the good news of his passion, death, and resurrection to those in our midst. By doing so, we can illuminate their path and inspire them to be transformed by him.
Let the trumpet of salvation sound aloud, Almighty King's triumph.
Shalom World Podcast is now available on all online platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and others.